And then we're going to get the evil Facebook on.
Right.
And then we'll,
Man, the Facebook blocked me last night because I put up an application for a Japanese restaurant and it said it was discrimination because I used the word Japanese.
Oh, we got to talk about that.
Right.
Yes, that's about right.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wonder why my jingle palette went to crap. Oh, here we go. Yeah. Okay, we're going to get let's see here.
Well, this is the Roy Rucker, then the crazy guy with the lazy eye show.
There's that funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday, live at 5 on Newswire, Facebook, Twitch, and even though Jesse's back in KMAT, his favorite YouTube, that he thinks we're going to get thrown off. Ever since he said that, we haven't got thrown off, so I guess that was our lucky charm. Coming off, there's nothing to talk about today. Liz Cheney got ousted as the number 3 in the Republican Party. Shots fired at by a BB gun and multiple times on the 91 freeway in Riverside. We'll cover that. All sorts of good stuff coming up. Inflation's up. Jobs are down. Not that there is a jobs, people to frame the jobs. We'll give you what Slow Joe has to say about that. On top of the board, but usually at least once a week, and usually on Wednesday, we bring in that famed caped warrior from Hemet, that crazy guy with the lazy eye of Hemet Eye News. And George, welcome to the show.
Hey, good to be back on the show. How are you today?
I'm absolutely fantastic. Every day's a great day here on the top side of the grass.
I hear you. Well, the grass ain't pretty green over here. It's pretty dirty in Hemet. We got a lot of dirt going on, and we're going to talk about it.
You got that right. As they say, I'm shocked. I'm shocked at City Hall. There's corruption going on out there. We're going to run about a minute or so of Eddie George's famous last night appearance at the Hemet City Council meeting. He throwed down what he said may shock you, but we'll bring Betty back to comment on it, but here we go.
Next we have Eddie George, followed by Michael Wolford.
I just want to say a little bit about Joe Mails. You know, everybody in our city has been complaining about wanting change. And when we get change, what happens? They don't want to change. And, you know, I just want to give a shout out to everybody who's wondering, you know, who is the action group out here? And, you know, Howard Rosenthal, Eric Gosh, Kenneth Graff, which I want to really ask Kenneth, you know, what are you thinking? I mean, you got more money and you got brains because you want to spend all this money to be able to falsify people's character and try to keep somebody out of the city council that's really going to stand for the people and not the pockets. You know, Joe Mails has done a lot for this community. I don't know if you guys know. We had the same incident with...
So, Eddie, tell us what the heck's going on over there in Hemet.
Well, we got a lot going on. The city ran for election for new councilman. We had Joe Mails, who is one of our veterans. He also, his son was murdered out here several years ago. This man has done a lot for us, or, you know, our city. He got elected as city council. He won the votes 2-1. 57% of our community voted for Joe Miles. It was the
just as a quick
outcome.
one, how many ran in the race?
There was, I believe, 4 running in the race.
Okay, so he beat more than one person. And he got 57%. I just wanted to make sure the people were clear. This guy just didn't get it in on 10% or something. Go ahead.
Exactly. He had it 2-1. It was the biggest, highest, best ranking voting that ever happened in the city of Hemet, and he blew it out of the water. We have this action group out here, and it's all formed by people that
Let me
are
guess.
corrupt.
Let me guess. The establishment is pissed off that somebody actually representing the people gets elected to council. Go ahead, Eddie.
Exactly. Therefore, Joe is for the people and not for the pockets. And that's what this action group is about. They will spend thousands of dollars, folks, to character attack the good people. They character attack Carly Meyer, who is now our mayor. They got ticked off that they didn't win on that. They spent over several thousands of dollars to put out fake mailers behind, the scenes to put out lies and everything about the mayor. They've done the same thing for Joe Miles. And Joe was basically buying a home on a verbal agreement. He went through all the steps that the city website did. There was some information that was wrong on the city website, but he did it by what was posted on the site. And they said, oh, well, he didn't sign the lease to his home, so he don't qualify because he was like 3 days shy of signing his lease. Whoop-de-doo. What does that mean? Oh, it's a loophole because they're now suing Joe Miles to annul his election because they don't want him in there because now since Joe Miles got in on the city council and automatically went from that to mayor pro tem, he's right up underneath the mayor now. They don't like it because why? The city is now cleaning up people in the city. They fired the city attorney. They've done a lot of changes to make things better for the city, and the action group can't stand it. Why? Because they're not getting the bread and butter now, so they want to get Joe Miles out of office so they could get their Mike Madrid in, who was one of their payoff guys to, vote yes on this or vote no on it. You're going to vote how we want you to vote. They want to have the 3-1 votes instead of the 3-2 votes versus the 2-3 for the people. Now, since we got Joe Miles, Carly Meyer, and Malcolm Lothenio in, we have the 3-2 people for the people, and they don't like that. They can't get on the boards that they're wanting to now. All these people that was on this action group, who is the do dirt crew that we call in the city, they always talking about who is corrupt in our city. Oh, the city's spending thousands and of hundreds of thousands of dollars that they shouldn't be spending, so they're wasting city money. But let's stop and think of something, folks. This is where the problem's coming in. This action group is spending so much money to character attack to get the good people out of office so they can do their dirt. Now it's going to cost the city over $100,000 to do a new special re-election coming up in November. Well, we do have the Gavin Newsom deal going, re-election recall going on. So, therefore, we can probably piggyback off of that new election, but it's still going to cost the city a lot of money. And these guys want to bitch and complain about, the city's spending so much money, but they're spending so much money to cause the city to spend $100,000 to do this new re-election. So go figure, I don't understand their point on this. They're causing the money being spent.
Oh, I understand their point very well. The establishment ain't getting their goodies, and they want theirs, and the hell with everything else. And that's what's behind this. Because in Action Group, anybody wants to come on, you're more than welcome to come on the show. We'll go toe to toe on it and see where this stuff roads. But as they say, I've been around these rodeos more than since yesterday, and this scenario plays out all over the place. Go ahead, Eddie.
I'm going to be doing some interviews with people to prove to the city that this action group has been going on back to early 80s, the 70s. This has been going on for years out here. They want control of the city. They've got the money. Why? Because it's all backed by Eric Gosh. Who is Eric Gosh? Eric Gosh is the one of over Gosh Auto Mall. So, I will make sure under my power that nobody buys a vehicle from Gosh Auto, because why? Your money is being spent to do the dirt crew out here for the city of Hemet, and the cities are, we got good people in, like I said in the city council meeting last night, all I hear about out here is people wanting change. We give you change, and then this dirt crew, the action group ran by Howard Rosenthal, Bonnie Wright, Eric Gosh, there's names I can list. I just can't remember, but we will be putting in a live stream tonight. I'm actually doing a live stream community call-in tonight with Joe Mails. So we're giving the community the actually time to call in and voice your opinions. We're forming a group out here called
Tell them where they can
57.
tell them, and we'll do it later on. Remind me, but tell them now and get ready. But just give them a brief where they can see that your interview with Joe Miles.
Yes, you can go to HemetINews.com. That's Hemet EYEnews.com. I will be live probably around 8:00 tonight with Joe. And we need everybody, and I'm stressing everybody that voted for Joe, we need you to call in. We need to make noise in our community. We need to put this action group down. We need to fight these people. And we've got enough people in our town of Hemet that voted for Joe. We got 57% of people that voted for Joe needs to call in tonight, stand up to this group. We need to fight this group. It's time to take them down. I mean, they're even trying to get Chuck Washington involved in this, and these guys got the money to pay people off to say what they want them to say, not what needs to be said. And, they want to bitch about Joe Mails, not signing his home contract within a few days of prior to signing his paperwork. But you know what, Roy? This is what burns my tail feathers with this. Bonnie Wright was one of the do-dirts. You had, Linda Krupa, you have Russ Brown, you have Bonnie Wright. I'm going to call them all out. I'm not scared of neither one of them. These are the three that was trying to take over the votes and everything, the 3-2, but now we got the 3-2, and they're not happy about it. Bonnie Wright moved out of the city of Hemet, and after she sold her home, moved to Arkansas or Arizona, and she turned around after she moved and living in Arizona, comes back to Hemet to vote on things. What's wrong with this picture, Roy? If you're not living here, why are you voting? But they didn't say nothing about Bonnie Wright. Nothing. Nothing.
Joe Biden and Liz Cheney and the whole crew over there, the dominant media, nothing. There is no election fraud has ever been in the United States of America, and especially in 2020, it was purer than the wind-driven snow.
Yeah, and that's like tits on a boar hog, too.
You mentioned Chuck Washington. He's a supervisor of Temecula. I think he runs up into Hemet of that. He's one of my faves.
He's the supervisor of Riverside County.
Yes. He loves it when I come up there because I have some nice things to say about him of that.
Right.
And I'm sure he's on the action group side of this whole equation.
Yes, he's... Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. And we're actually going to be posting all the names of the people that's in the action group and all their emails, too. We are going to make that public. And we are forming a group called the Friends of Joe 57, which means the 57%. And all of us who forms this will be picketing. We will be protesting. We will be raising noise. Our job is to raise hell in the city, to support Joe Mails. This guy is the best that you will ever have for this city, and they want to remove him. Why? Because he's for the people and not the pockets. And I respect Joe Mails. I've seen this guy go far and beyond for people. I've seen him even help people that's not even in his district on District 4. So, this guy's the best thing that Hemet's ever had, and why they want him out is because he's not dirty. And they only want dirty people in our council. And now we're getting rid of them, and they can't stand it, Roy. It's burning their feathers. So they're spending as much money as they can to be able to get Joe out of office so they can get their dirty guy in. And, we got a plan for that. We're not going to release what's going to happen, but there is another term that the city has. It's basically intern interim. And, Joe can be renominated as a intern interim and be voted by the council back into the city officials. So we're not going to quit until we have Joe Males permanently back on our council. And these people, they have the power of the money, but there's one thing that this action group does not realize that they don't have. They have me and the power of the people. You can have all the money you want, but when you have the power of the people that's going to stand behind Joe Males, we're not going to back down. And that's what I'm asking our community. You need to step up, ladies and gentlemen. Defend your votes. Why did you even vote if they're going to throw your votes right in the trash can? And you're talking about dirty votes. There you go, Roy.
There you go. You mentioned you got rid of a corrupt city attorney. What do you think of the Hemet city manager? Who is the Hemet city manager, and what do you think of him or her, whoever it is?
Well, so far I haven't met the city manager yet. What I'm understanding from the mayor and everybody, the city manager we have now is doing an excellent job.
Okay.
He's very supportive. So I'm actually working on having a meeting with the city manager on some topics that we're working on out here in Hemet. So give me a few weeks, and I can probably come back and answer that question.
Oh, yes, I'd be curious. Who's the mayor pro tem out there in Hemet right now?
Right now, Carly Meyer is our mayor.
Okay.
And then Joe Males is now the mayor pro tem.
Okay.
Now let me tell you something about Carly Meyer.
Go ahead.
For several years, Carly Meyer has been trying to run as mayor. She's been nominated as mayor, but these three people always kept denying the votes. Because remember, now
how long has Carly been on the council?
Carly's been on council for several years, as I know.
That's what I'm
of,
saying.
And she could never get married.
And I'm saying you don't have a directly elected mayor. It's selected by the council, I'm presuming.
Well, it has been elected by the council. She was nominated. When Bonnie Wright was here, we had Bonnie Wright, Linda Krupa, and Russ Brown, and they would always vote and nominate each other, and they were the 3-2. So anytime anybody tried to nominate Carly Meyer, they would vote it out because they didn't want Carly.
No, I don't believe that. Just a little civics 101 lesson for you. And it's not like it's not cast in stone, but usually if the council or county board of supervisors electing the president, school board or whatever, it's like a rotation. Okay, it's your turn this year, next year this, you get pro tem, da 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 da. She's been on there more than 4 years, and she has not been selected as mayor. Then the fix is in.
Exactly.
Yes.
Exactly. If you watch the election every year, it would be bounced between those three. Nobody else would never get a chance. So now since Bonnie Wright left the seat, she moved out. We lost that 3-2. So Joe Males comes in. He gets nominated as council. He gets it. He gets elected, and then he turns around the same night of the city council meeting. He turns around and gets elected or elected as mayor pro tem the same night, and that ticked off the action group. They could not stand that. Now their cycle was broken. They can't rotate that mayor position between each three no more. Now it's the people that's doing it, and they can't stand that. And now the dirt is starting to be cleaned up in the city, and the action group out here don't like it. Oh, we can't control the city now. We don't have our people in the seats that we need. The ones that was on the boards, they even got voted off the boards. They're no longer on the boards this year, and they can't stand it. They have zero control now, so they're using what leverage they have is money to file suits against Joe Males to try to, he wasn't living here in the city of Hemet until a few days after he signed the paperwork. Well, whoop-de-doo, what about your Bonnie Wright that moved out of Hemet moved to another state and still making elections and making votes. That's a big no-no. If you're not living here, you don't supposed to be voting, right? Well, you want to pin that on Joe Males, but you don't want to pin that on Bonnie Wright? Oh, wait, I forgot Bonnie Wright's on your Dude Dirt crew. That's why.
Do you know if Joe was registered to vote on the day that for the election papers or the last day?
Yes.
Yes, he was registered to vote as the address in Hemet in that district. Do you guys have districts or are they at large?
We do have districts.
So if he was registered, let's just pick the date, May 12th is the last day. He was registered as of May 12th, 2020 to run in that council seat, and the voter registration or the city clerk has to check this all out before your name gets on the ballot and all this stuff.
That's
and then
right.
through the process of that. So if there was any problem with what he had, where he's saying his residence is that on that day is where it was, not particularly what paperwork he signed or whatever. He could be living at Eddie George's house in Hemet, and it doesn't make a ding-bat bit of difference of where he's signing lease papers or whatever of a house.
Right. The lease papers wasn't signed until a few days afterward because he was in the process of getting everything done. And, everything was done by handshake, and the paperwork just wasn't ready yet in the next few days until he signed. And they're trying to use that little loophole. Oh, well, the signature was not signed and dotted on the dotted line on the day of. But come on, let's go back to the Bonnie Wright deal again. I'm just trying to stress that to the public as much. What about her? She moved out. She sold her home, moved to another state, living in that other state, comes back to Hemet 2 weeks later and makes votes and votes on city official stuff. Now, if Joe Males would have done that, they would have thrown those votes out in a heartbeat. But why they didn't do it with Bonnie Wright? That's because she's on their crew, Do Dirt crew.
Well, yeah, and it could be. I mean, the same thing. And I mean, I don't want to castigate somebody else if they're doing it. I mean, if they hadn't put in their official resignation papers, if this Bonnie hadn't changed her stuff over,
and we have documentation of her declaration that she signed, showing that when she moved out, when she sold her home and everything, and she still said, oh, well, I thought I had 30 days to do all this stuff. Yeah, right.
Okay, that puts it. I need to give me those documents, Eddie, so I could, and anyone's on this Joe Miles stuff that's going on, because I want to look over them and see what's going on, because I've been through these rodeos and before yesterday too, so I have a lot of experience with the stuff you were talking about. There was something else we talked about earlier that I wanted to bring up, and it slipped my mind on there. Do you remember what it was?
No, because you didn't tell me.
See? There you go. I just wanted to make sure we were talking about something. If it pops into your head, let it rip. But no, this is very important. And I got to applaud Eddie and all the people of Hemet. Maybe all the turmoil we've been through the last year with the COVID and the elections and all this other crap that's been going on. Maybe, and I said this, maybe we all needed a little slap upside the head to pay attention to what's going on or to do this. But I got to applaud you guys in Hemet for actually standing up. That, and when the establishment is coming after you, you still stand your ground and stand what's right. Just like the Republicans today got rid of warmongering, lying Liz Cheney out of the leadership of that. And we'll get into that later after Eddie's on. But I just wanted to say that stand your ground. Don't let them back you up if you know you're right. If you know you're right. Just keep going, because eventually, as you're seeing in Hemet, with Carly and Joe and the crew down there, and you backing them up, and your listeners and stuff, and the grassroots people, the people that are toting a lunch pail every day, the ones that have been just thoroughly beaten to death over this last year over this stuff, and have been getting it for many decades and haven't been figuring out why. Now, with the likes of Eddie George and stuff. Now you're seeing why.
That's right. And I just sent you the declaration and everything to our little chat group that we have, Roy. If you'll go to that, it's the first one I just sent you. That's the declaration that she sent. The second one is actually the court minutes on Joe Males, where this action group is taking them to court, and you'll see it's Graff versus Joe Males. Graff is just a little somebody that's a nobody out here, but he's the puppet for the action group. They're the ones that put him up to doing this lawsuit against Joe. So you'll see the minutes on that as well.
Okay, we'll check that out. And yeah, any of you guys like Joe Graff or whatever, you got open airways on here. We want to hear both sides of the story, but mind you, you come into IE Newswire, the question, there's no holes barred. You're going to have to answer the tough question. If you don't want to answer the tough questions, then you will not be on the air. Or if you try and duck or dodge.
The Roy and Eddie Springer show.
Yes. If you try and duck or dodge, you're going to go somewhere else. But if you're willing to stand up to the heat, because if you are right, you will be able to show where, if you think Eddie George is wrong or the crew is, show us.
And they won't. They won't do that. They hide behind fake profiles. They hide behind fake mailers that they put out with a fake name on it that nobody knows who it is. And they use public's money to do this. And then it's going to end up causing city money to do a re-election.
Yes, this is absolutely ridiculous that they would do that in this time. Gavin Newsom's up there bitching and moaning about this way. Oh, it's going to cost so much money to do the recall election. Well, if you weren't such a blank, we wouldn't have to go through this policy of doing that when you're doing that. But again, look at the establishment backing Newsom. They do this all the time. They'll twist, turn everything on top of you to go. They'll try and back you up, intimidate you like they were trying to get in. Well, they wanted to get, because on a recall, the signature, the people who signed are confidential, that the legislature was trying to get that opened up till we exposed that too. So
that's right.
In my experience, these organizations will leave no stone unturned to get back in power, because one thing that they cannot stand, one thing that'll choke them, is they get that power taken away from them, where they've been hosing you, Joe and Jane, lunch pail toting citizen, going to work,
That's
trying
right.
to get your kids educated, and just trying to live your daily lives without getting screwed over every 10 minutes on this stuff. But like I say, I can't applaud the folks of Hemet enough for standing up to this.
Yes, and I want to say thank you to all the veterans that came out last night, all of our disabled people that came out. We packed the city council meeting last night with the supporters of Joe Males. Everybody got up and took up just about the whole city council meeting to speak on Joe's behalf. And, Joe is well-loved out here. He's well-respected. And, he's the perfect person for this job. And we're going to do everything in our power to keep Joe Males in office. One way or another, Joe will stay in office by the power of the people.
They actually let you inside the council chambers to speak?
Oh, yes.
Wow. City of Moreno Valley, take notes. School board, Moreno Valley Unified School District
Right.
School Board, after a year of this crap of not letting us in this phone and Zoom crap, it's got to go. There is no more excuse for this anymore. Got about a minute left. I'll let you wrap it up, Eddie George.
All right. Well, Roy, like always, it's a pleasure being on your show. Thank you for what you do. Folks, you can follow our story on HemetINews.com. That's Hemet, EYE News.com. Also, you can follow us on The Crazy Guy with a Lazy Eye.com. That takes you straight to our YouTube channel. So I will be posting updates on that. We will be live tonight around 8 o'clock or so. I'll be posting a prior post letting everybody know what time we're going live with our Councilman Pro Tem Joe Males. Till then, folks, this is Eddie George, that crazy guy with LazyEye.com, with HemetINews.com, and I am getting off my chair, and Roy, I'm back off your air.
And Eddie, put a link to that in the comments on IE Newswire on your link with Joe Males on that, if you can.
I sure will. I'll post it right now.
Thanks a lot. Eddie George, the great Eddie George from Him at iNews, that brings us all with Lori, John, Alex, and the whole crew over there. And again, I got to say bravo to the citizens of Hemet for not letting the establishment push you around. That's what we're all about on this show, each and every day, of bringing you that. And we'll have that on as we join KMET here in a few minutes. Coming up on that, we'll have it up. We'll link up with them. And on top of that, we're going to more of the graft and corruption from the state of California.
1 minute.
To the U.S. Capitol and all points in between going on here. Because, as I said, it's like there's nothing going on here every day. There's nothing to talk about on that. I had a bunch of stuff. I went to go with Eddie, and he says, hey, we got this hot deal going on down in Hemet. We spent the whole half hour on that, going back and forth on the corruption in that going down in Hemet. The establishment is on the run from Hemet, California, to the District of Criminals in Washington, D.C., and we cover it all on IE Newswire each day as we come through. Dang, I thought I had that timed out where we were going to hit it right on the button, but
here we go.
IE Newswire Daily is on the air.
The following is a paid program. Views and claims expressed are those of the program producer and are not endorsed by this station. Opinions expressed are not necessarily those of radio station KMET, its management, employees.
That funky slide guitar music that comes on every Monday through Friday on the Mighty Met 1490 AM, broadcasting all over the Inland Empire in the aforementioned AM band, joining our vast video audience on Facebook, Twitch, and Jesse can't wait for me to say YouTube on that. He's running the show there at KMET today. And I'm doing a solo here in studio on that, which just went pretty good today, which is almost, knock on wood, probably just jinxed that, but we'll see going back and forth doing that. One thing I wanted to get to, and we had the great Eddie George on the first half hour from him at iNews. They are fighting the corruption down there. They're trying to knock out one city councilman, the establishment, because they have a 3-2. They have a 3-2 vote, 3 working for the people. They're trying to get out Joe Miles on a technicality that they think they can do that because they're running scared and they're not lining their own pockets with your cash. So we'll see how that works out. But again, I got to say congratulations and keep going, all of you great folks out in Hemet, because with standing up for your rights, and your community, and we're not going to take this crap anymore on that, as we're going to do all across the nation on that. We brought you the story. It's been a big, the pipeline cyber attack on the East Coast, people hoarding, gas lines, you can't get gas and all this other stuff. This on that here. Here's the first one I want to show. Here's number 4. Wonder why your local gas station is out of control. The toilet the toilet paper people are back. People, when there's this stuff going on, I understand, fill up your tank if you get to the gas station, but don't be doing this. Don't be stacking your cans, doing that so somebody else can't get to work too. It's like the toilet paper crisis we went through when the COVID came out. It's ridiculous that you do stuff like that. Here's another one. This is even more incredible. Putting gas in plastic bags. I'm gonna see that's probably 20 or 30 gallons of gas in a plastic bags in the back of your car. Are you that freaking stupid? Come on, people. At least the other couple, at least we're putting it in proper or gas storage cans, not plastic bags. If that stuff starts leaking, it not only cause your car on fire, burn it up, but burn up somebody else's cars. What if somebody hits you in the back? What if you get in an accident, you moron? Yeah, what if somebody rear ends you and that 20 or 30 gallons becomes a fireball? Not only burns you up, but a family and kids. As I said, one of the latest Royisms 101. Do not underestimate the stupidity of your fellow human beings. Because this is absolutely flippin' ridiculous. Here's a video we're going to show. I think it's a man and a woman, it looks like, fighting at a gas station. Here you go. They're duking it out over gas. I mean, this is what we're coming to. Now, we're going to bring some of the economic stuff of why you're getting to this. And yeah, I want to get this. Eddie posted this one up. Someone should start a rumor of shortage of jobs so everyone panics and gets one. It's like the panic going on. We're going to talk about the jobs and the economy and inflation a little bit. But this is what we're boiled down to in our society. Not only the shortages, the cyber attacks, non-energy independence, and Jarrett, yes, energy independence is when you're exporting more. As the fact check you said, it depends how you want to figure it. But the reason we're not, and if you look at your own fact check, they tell you the reason we're not totally 100% producing our own energy, the amount of oil we import from the 21 we use to the 13 that we produce, that gap of 8 million barrels a day, we could do in California if our dingbat government and at Gulag Gavin would end the moratorium on drilling for oil, because California probably has the biggest oil reserves in the whole freaking world under the ground right now. We can't drill it. On top of that, he wants to stop fracking in 2 years, eliminate that, which has got us to the point where we were exporting energy in the United States before Biden came in and Gulag Gavin and stuff and put a big halt to that. So, we've got to stop promoting stupid. We've got to stop promoting ridiculous, idiotic people in our government. Starting with the District of Criminals, to the President of the United States. He said, who claims unemployment benefits are not discouraging people from working. We're going to play you the short clip of that on Joe Biden's statement the other day, and then we're going to look at the evidence.
That's the law. I know there's been a lot of discussion since Friday's report, that people are being paid to stay home rather than go to work. Well, we don't see much evidence of that.
Okay, Joe. You don't see much evidence that people are not going to work because they're making more on unemployment? Jarrett, this is in National Public Radio. not part of the vast right-wing conspiracy, or I don't think a bunch of hillbilly Trump supporters or whatever rhetoric you want to push out. For many, $600 jobless benefit makes it hard to return to work. This is by Scott Horsley in the aforementioned National Public Radio. Preschool teacher Lainey Morris has been out of work for more than 2 months, but the Portland, Oregon Child Care Center, where she's worked, is considering reopening. Morris said she is dreading the idea as much as she loves the infants and toddlers for which she cared. They always have snotty faces. It's just one cold after another. Oh, she sounds like a real caring person. She says, it feels like an epicenter for spreading disease, and it feels really scary to go back to that. Well, why aren't you dead yet, Lainey Morse? In addition to risking infection with COVID, where's the scientific evidence that kids are spreading this, Jarrett? And your phony fact checkers who wouldn't know a fact if it was rammed up their ass. It's terrible to say, but we're all doing better now, she says. It's hard to think about going back to work in this pandemic and getting paid less than we are right now when we're safe at home in quarantine. There's the article. I forgot to switch the switcher, but there's the article in NPR as you see it. Not only is she making more money sitting at home on Joe Biden's unemployment, she does not have the expense of getting in her car, the time spent of that, plus the 30 or 40 hours a week she was working. Now she can go do something else, watch Jerry Springer, stuff your face full of bonbons, smoke weed, or whatever the hell you're doing all day. You're not going to work because you would be stupid too. And you don't care the kids. You make that, oh, I care about the kids, but they're a bunch of snot-nosed, runny little blanks running around, yada, yada, yada. That sounds like you really care about them to me. So let's cut to the chase. You pay people not to work. You know what they're going to do? Not work. The restaurant industry, the construction industry, and most industries are begging for people to come back. They cannot get them back to work because they're making more on Biden's and Gulag Gavin's unemployment fraud. Unemployment at any level was supposed to be why you did not have a job and you could not find one and there were none available. There are jobs aplenty available. Employers are either shutting down businesses, not reopening them, or the prices are going skyrocketing because the supply of labor is down. This is a fact. And it keeps happening each day. And Joe Biden says there's no evidence that people are staying home and not going to work. Does he really think we're all that stupid? Apparently. Because that's what he said. This is CNBC. Yesterday, the inflation statistics were released. Inflation speeds up in April as consumer prices leap 4.2%, fastest since 2008. This is Squawk Box on CNBC. play the video.
We have breaking news.
Here
Our
we go.
April read on Consumer Price Index. And believe me, if you're standing, I recommend you sit down. Up 0.8% on headline, 4 times expectations. Strip out the all-important food and energy, up 3 times expectations, up 0.9%. Year over year, up 4.2%. And if you look at year-over-year core, up 3.0. These are staggering numbers. However, they shouldn't be a surprise. Especially, let's take those year-over-year numbers. When you look at last April, it was up 0.3 year-over-year headline. So we are comping against some of the worst corona-affected year-over-year inflation data points. So for the next couple months, these year-over-year numbers are going to be rather large. How large? Yeah, I heard you ask. Up 4.2% would be the biggest month-over-month increase on headline year-over-year since September, get this, 2008. These are really, really lofty numbers. Now, as we look at what's going on in interest rates, we're almost at...
So there you go. That's on CNBC. Again, Jarrett, not part of the vast right-wing conspiracy. CNBC, I don't think there's a bunch of hillbilly Trump supporters that are tuned in regularly to CNBC. Inflation is running out of control. Wages are contracting. Supply chain is getting less. This is just one on chicken shortage. This is on chicken shortage. This is on ABC 7. Here we go.
Tenders to nuggets to wings. Some Americans are having a tough time finding their favorite meal.
It's kind of a crapshoot to see if they show up or not. You may order 10 cases, they may send 3. They may send none.
We're getting about 2/3 of what we typically would order. There's some days our food reps will call us and they say we might not be able to get you anything.
Some analysts blame COVID for an apparent chicken supply shortage. The pandemic caused poultry plants to reduce staff. The virus also made people stay home, and lots of Americans ordered comfort food.
3 times. You may order 10, whatever, humongous boxes of chicken. You may get 3, you may get none. This is going across all industries. You can't get steel. Look at the price of steel, up almost 100%. Lumber up 303 times. You can't get lumber. You can't get raw materials. I see this all even in my stuff. Things are running short. Chips, electric chips, everything. You have trouble getting supplies you need. When you have rising prices and declining wages, it's called stagflation. We went through it in the 70s, and those of you that lived through that, it wasn't very fun. It's the worst of both worlds because it zaps your ability to earn or increase your wealth. It actually extracts wealth to you. This is a chart from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. Nominal wage growth has been far below target in recovery. Year-over-year change in private sector to nominal average wage earnings. You can see it's been anywhere right around just hovering at the 2.5% range since 2008. We had this last price shot of inflation. Notice this chart right here. 2019. Nominal wage growth up almost 8% in the third year of the Trump administration. And look how it was rising all the way up and spiked in 19 when the Trump policies were taking full effect. Then came the vid. And look at how it's dropped to almost zero in a year. I mentioned the small chart that we had before. Yeah, you could get a 5% raise in wages. You get a 5% raise. Say you're making $1,000 a week. Now you're making $1,050. You're thinking, we're in the money. Your expenses go up 10%. So let's say you were spending that whole $1,000. Now your expenses are $1,100 a week. You went in the whole $50 in purchasing power, even though you have $50 more green dollar bills in your pocket every week. What's worse, and that's when wages are rising at a less rate than prices are going up. When wages, and they're just about at the point, let me get to this chart, 0.3% and dropping like a rock. Wage growth. When it goes negative and you're hitting a bout of inflation, that's why I brought up the Bill Malusian report from the border. And what, they had 50 people there, almost all of them from Venezuela and a few from Cuba. What happened in Venezuela when they bought into the Hugo Chavez, everything is free, free, free? Well, yeah, they lived fat, dumb, and happy for a few years until they ran out of oil money. And then it was all over. There wasn't gas you could buy at any price. There wasn't anything on the shelves. We're seeing the slow incrementation of this. You're seeing the supply chains dwindling. You're seeing the prices rising. Well, you can't get this, or you order this. Try to get some aluminum right now. Try to order aluminum sheet. If you can get it. And then, if you can get it, the price is skyrocketing. This is the telltale signs when you see wages dropping and going negative, in negative territory or headed to negative territory, and inflation spiking, you're seeing the beginning of the end. And go ask the people of Venezuela. It happened overnight, like that. Yeah, you're smoking along, you're thinking, we're in the money, happy days are here again, everything's bright. Oh, well, I don't have to go to work. Uncle Joe's or Gulag Gavin's going to send me a check. And as the great Prime Minister in the 70s and 80s of Britain, the Iron Lady Margaret Thatcher said, socialism works great until you run out of other people's money. And when you run out of that money, things come to a grinding halt quickly. I mean, instantly. You know, look at this gas shortage. We had the graphic of the toilet paper. You know, the toilet paper people are back. Here it is. We went through that last year when the COVID came. How quickly last year toilet paper, bleach, and supplies that you count on every day were gone. The experiences we're going through now, wake the hell up. Because the signs are out there The warning signs are out there saying danger, stop, alto. You can continue to ignore them, but when the crash hits, it's going to be that much worse. It's one reason why you cannot by any circumstances not recall Gulag Gavin. It's great the Republicans, and I hope they get rid of Kevin McCarthy next because he kept her in there. Liz Cheney is gone out of leadership of the National Republican Party. Eddie George and the great folks of Hemet are out there cleaning up Hemet. Great folks in Texas, Arizona, Oklahoma, South Carolina are cleaning up their school boards from the white fragility, the critical race theory, and the stupidity that's been going on in our education system for freaking decades. As I started the show with, maybe we needed COVID-19 in 2020 to slap us upside the head, and really woke all of us. I'm hoping that's the case because I really don't want to see an America where all this stuff crashes. You want to see a world where the U.S. dollar is not the world reserve currency and China and Russia are controlling that? Is that what you really want to see happen? China's on the march to do just that, to weaken the dollar, which inflation and lowering wage growth will do that in a heartbeat. Where people will not only, where the world will not trade in dollars. And if that happens, America as you know it is all she wrote. As I said, I got to about 3 stories out of the 27 I had today as the rolling joke goes on. But we'll be back tomorrow on a Thursday. Thursdays we wind up this Wicked Wednesday with all the stuff. Again, thanks for Eddie George for being on. All the good folks for listening each and every day on IE Newswire and KMET 1490. So, be back here in 23 hours. Until then, see ya!
Talk to you tomorrow.
You got it.